And this gentleman right here, we saved the best for last, because I've been knowing this gentleman as my elder and my friend since 2006, and he opened my eyes about real estate and true wealth. I mean, he was making boss moves 50 years ago, just like Dr. Frazier. He did it 10x. So this gentleman was kind enough to become a client of mine in 2006, and then we became friends, and we endeavored down the road for the past 14 years, and I'm so excited to have Mr. Ron Harris, the owner of Ron Rich Corporation, on the platform and save the best for last. Ron, how are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, Dale. Everything's beautiful in life right now. Like you said, we go back years, and life is good because the success with Black entrepreneurs is making things happen and teaching other people how to do it, to do the same. I've been very blessed to meet some very great people around this country. I'm so proud of African Americans, men and women, because for the last 30 years, I've been working with African Americans around this country and other countries too, because quite naturally, I've developed some projects that I'm producing over in China. It's a little getting a little slow now because what the president has done is put us all into a bag that it's hard to get stuff here. Quite naturally, we're paying all these duties now and things of that nature, but I'm surviving because I have things going on here in the United States too.
Man, that's fine. So Ron, quickly tell us your backstory, because you were formally educated and you worked in corporate America. Tell us a little bit about that real quickly before
we quite naturally, I didn't get that much education, just a bachelor's degree, because, quite naturally, I got started back in 1971. Back in 1974, I became the second African-American executive at General Mills, which is the food company that make products like Betty Crocker. Quite naturally, everybody's familiar with Cheerios and Wheaties. We have, when I first started, when they had about 70 products. When I left there, they had hundreds. I left General Mills back in 2000, back in 95. And quite naturally, Ron Rich Corporation had been established before I left. And I decided to, after 22 years of General Mills, come out and do my own thing and really put my time and effort into my company rather than spending half the time with them and half the time trying to do my own thing.
Now, Nick, I want you to hear this. What I'm about to ask Ron to tell us about the major move that you did, Ron, that everybody thought you were crazy. That normally this is what happens, Nick. When you retire, you live off your 401k. But Ron did the complete opposite. Ron, tell us about that boss move you did in 1995. People thought you were crazy, and what you did with your 401k that's put you in position to be the boss you are today, and ever since I've known you.
Well, what I did, I went to Arizona back in '94, and I started buying land out there. A lot of people told me I was crazy. Why would you go to Arizona and start buying land in the desert? Quite naturally, a couple of years later, people are probably familiar. Phoenix, Arizona, along with Las Vegas, took off, became the fastest growing city in the country. And I did very well because I came in long before that started to happen, bought land at probably about some land as low as $300 an acre. And by 2003, 4, had popped up to 35,000, 40,000 an acre. So you look at the numbers that I bought land at and where I was at years being in the business, I did very well. I mean, quite naturally, we had a little crash out there in 2008, but I walked away okay. I mean, yes, I had some debt, but thank God, because I had other things going, Ron Rich Corporation, which was involved in developing property, I was able to survive. And as we speak today, I'm a happy man right now because quite naturally today things even much better.
Man, wait, Nick, he bought land, he did the research, and he still ain't telling. He only telling 100 of it. So I'm gonna tell a little bit of it, Ron.
Well, you can get into it, Del, because you was around. You know what's happening. Hey.
Yeah. So he said he bought acres for $300 for an acre, and then it came 35. He also owned the mineral rights. The air rights. Oh, yeah, he also had Chinese companies begging to build resorts on his land. And guess what? You know how he knew that? Because guess how Las Vegas was built? A Jew went out to the desert and thought of a dream and said, we're going to have people come here to gamble. And all Ron did is follow the template. And when I met Ron, Ron had this business called Ron Rich Corporation that he created this patented product that goes in your cars for all the cars because he grew up in the Detroit area and worked. So Ron, talk a little bit about that when you and I met and how explosive that product was.
Well, you know, quite naturally, we have a product called the Buddy Mate. Like Bill said, we have a patent on the product. We produce the product over in China. The product has done well over the years. But what's happening right now, because like I said, what's going on in China, we're working on a deal to probably sell that particular item. The Chinese are doing well with it, quite naturally. So I'm looking forward to the day. We're talking some nice numbers, some nice 7 figures. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, like I said, what's going on with our so-called president today, they're killing a lot of deals out of China. I mean, quite naturally, it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen with this virus, because people just don't realize we have not really did assess the damage that is being done right now. I mean, quite naturally, last week they did admit that we're in a recession. And not only that, the virus is really rising a lot, especially in a lot of the states that open up early. I'm not going to say red state, blue state situation, because I don't want people to feel that I'm going to pick on the red states, but I will a little bit, because it's Georgia that opened up early, Florida that opened up early, Arizona, and we all know who the governors are of those states. So there's a lot of things up in the air, but when you're diverse with the different things that you do, you can withstand and weather the storms. And quite naturally, some things have happened in the last couple of days financially where I'm pretty well off on being able to hang no matter what happened.
Exactly. So, Nick, check this out, Nick. Ron was like Marco Polo. I met Ron. Ron was traveling all around the world. He was actually a merchandiser going to other continents, going to China, brokering deals, bringing the stuff back here when I was only thinking about it. And be honest, when I met you, Ron, I was kind of afraid to even go do that. And I'm a very confident person. But when I saw somebody look like me that was doing it, I said, if Ron can do it, I can do it. And then the most important part, Ron was like, hey, Dale, come on, get on the boat with us, brother, because there's more room for everybody to enjoy this lifestyle. I mean, Ron really opened up my eyes to being a global businessman. So, Ron, well, you being one of the first pioneers that I personally met that was doing that, what gave you the confidence to do those things on other continents, bring products back, get them into mainstream, and make money? Was that from your corporate background with General Mills, or was that something that you took a trip and got some connections? How did that come about, Ron?
Well, quite naturally, Dale, I started very young trying to be an entrepreneur. I mean, like most guys, I started with a paper route. By the time I was 18, a friend of mine that's named Richard, that's how the name Ron Rich Corporation came along.
Okay.
Richard and I decided that we weren't going to be athletes, but we could be entrepreneurs and have a corporation one day. So quite naturally, we went to school together. We started off at a junior college in our hometown. And from there, you know, we started doing various projects and things of that nature that gave us the confidence in ourselves, because an entrepreneur must believe in himself. I mean, you must really believe that you have the ability to do certain things. And with that ability that we knew we had, we decided that, okay, in order to really become true entrepreneurs, we had to travel a little bit and see what was happening in other parts of the world. And quite naturally, I probably spent time in over 30 countries and probably have done business in at least 10 of them out of the 30s I've traveled with. My experience in China was quite interesting, because the Chinese are pretty shrewd business people, but they respect Black people who have it together. You'll hear all these rumors, well, Chinese don't like Black people. Well, you know, a lot of people may not like Black people, but everybody likes money. And when you have the idea and the ability to do deals and put a business plan together, not only put together, but know how to execute the plan too. Because it's one thing to put a plan together, but everybody put a plan together. But can you execute that plan? And so those are the things that I've done that's giving me the confidence. Well, you know, I was in Thailand just last year for working on some deals. You know, and the Thais they do great manufacturing. Matter of fact, the Thais are a little bit tighter than the Chinese are. And I was online today talking to one of my girls over in Chinese. I mean, not none of my business partners, I'm a lady, okay? So get that straight. And we're looking at some things over there. I mean, quite naturally, I got involved with CBD oil last year. I mean, for those who don't, people might not be familiar with CBD oil, but we're looking at growing hemp in Thailand because quite naturally the land over there is very fertile for this type of product, hemp. Quite naturally, you know, I have some acreage in Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and a friend of mine owns a couple hundred acres in Michigan that we're going to be growing hemp on. And a lot of these things probably would have been taking place, but because of the virus, we had to back away from certain things and sort of wait to see what's going to happen. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm working on some other projects because that's what I do. And like I said, I'm thankful because financially I'm in good shape. My credit is excellent, both my corporation and my personal. I can show them right now. I just got the score. Put it up, baby. You know, that's 750. I mean 7.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
7. You can see it there. 7,
move it over a little bit.
90.
Move it over to your left.
Well, let's
what is the number? Move it up.
Put it up.
Yeah, there we go. Right there. Right there. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. That's how we roll. That's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. Ron. Since you told him that, and Nick, this is the reason why you never counsel yourself. You always counsel yourself 3 things or 3 people you follow. You follow somebody who's a leader, who's where you trying to go in leadership. You follow somebody who does business, where are you trying to go in business? And you follow somebody spiritually, where are you trying to go? If my mother or my father are not financially independent, they're not spiritual giants, and they don't have leadership, Nick, guess what? I don't follow them, but I love them. So what do I mean by this? Ron is one of my counselors. Ron advises me. And Ron opened up my eyes about the disaster loan application process. And I got some of that money for the small piece, and that's all I wanted because I'm debt free. I own everything. I got my name on it. But I have a conversation with Ron 3.5 weeks ago. Ron, can you cue us in on how dumb I was until after you told me and showed me the
Joe, it's not being dumb as it is being aware. I mean, there's, one thing about business, I'm ignorant to certain things too. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and profess to be a genius, but I know one thing. What I don't know, I'm not ashamed to ask somebody. And see, sometimes people let their pride get in the way with their shortcomings. And any smart businessman knows one thing: if I don't know, let me find out as soon as I possibly can. Now, if I got to ask my son or daughter, because see, a 10-year-old can teach you something because maybe they're on the internet and they're seeing things and they like things they see and tell you. So I don't discount anybody when it comes to knowledge. And that's what you have to be, because see, just like our boy sitting up there in DC, don't talk about he knows everything. I know more than the general. I know more. Now, when you start talking about how much you know, you stop listening. And see, one thing in life, you got to listen, because when you listen, you learn. And see, that's what happens to a lot of people who talk all the time and never listen. So they never learned that much, So, hey, I enjoy the life, because one thing about it, I've been blessed to have friends like, my battery's getting low. Come on, don't do that. Let me plug this up right quick.
Power, yeah. I had that. Go ahead, plug it in. So, Nick, this is what, and I was just being facetious about being dumb, because I'm not dumb and nobody's dumb. I was just ignorant to the process, because since I'm such a proponent for debt freedom, no consumable debt, I didn't want to take on any debt because I didn't need the money. But Ron made something clear to me. He said, you know what? You have a business. You run a successful business, and if they're offering you the money, you take the money and multiply it in your business. So I was about to delete the email that told me I was approved for the DL disaster loan application money. And after having a conversation with Ron, I went ahead, filled out the application, and lo and behold, because of my great credit standing, my Dun & Bradstreet rating, and my personal credit, I got approved for a lot of money.
Wow. Yeah. So what were some of those key things that Ron told you that made it click that, oh yeah, I should apply for this?
Well, number one is that, we raise money as business owners to make money. And the fact of the matter is that the loan is not having to be paid back for 12 months. That was number one. Number two, the interest rate was lower than any interest rate that I can get anywhere other than getting my own personal mortgage, getting a mortgage on my house. So that made sense. And then the caveat was it's 30 years. So $100,000 at 3% interest rate, that's only about $220 a month that I make a payment for 30 years while I'm taking that 100 grand and I'm multiplying it 10x. So when I looked at it that way and put my business hat back on, and I do teach this, use other people's money, other people's time. So I'm debt free. My business is debt free. But you know what? We're raising capital just like any other smart business. Why not raise that capital from the government? Because I thought about it. I got turned down for a small business loan by the SBA back in the day, by a major bank that we're doing business with that I won't say. So why not get that money because I earned it at the end of the day? And now I can put that money into our business, grow our business for the future, and do it at a very low interest rate. So it only makes sense. And you know how long it took for me to get approved? 5 minutes.
Wow, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Wow.
And Ron opened up my eyes to that because I was thinking, you know what? I got to stay debt free. But I wasn't thinking about it. That loan is going to my company. It's not going to Dale. It's to my company. So my company takes on that little small loan to actually stimulate the disaster that prevented us from making money. So we earned it. And that's what everybody should do. And that's the reason why the 7 spheres of money is so important. It's important to have accountants who do business accounting, real estate accounting, and personal income accounting. It's important to have attorneys to do business attorneys, real estate attorneys, personal attorneys. It's important to have financial planners like myself that does the same 3 things. It's important to have mortgage bankers to tell you what kind of money you can get personally, but more importantly, for your business. It's important to have small business advisors. It's important to have estate advisors like Dr. Fraser's talking. He's in his succession plan. So when I talked to Ron as my advisor, he gave me that input because he's been running a successful multi-million-dollar business for almost as long as I've been alive. So when I thought about that and took in that information and then made the numbers work for me, I said, you know what? I would be a fool not to take the money that I earned for 20 years by having an 800 credit score, by being consumer debt free, by having sat down with over 20,000 people, help them become consumer debt free, help hundreds become financially independent, and to grow the legacy for my children and my children's children. Just like what Dr. Baker just said before this interview, is that his children are set up and they think about ownership and equity. So that's the reason why I turned the curve. But before, I was just going to delete it because it said you can take it or not. And I was about to delete it. And they sent me another email after having a conversation with Ron and said, hey, if you don't take it now, it'll be withdrawn within 48 hours. I said, enough said. I pushed the button, answered a couple of questions. You approved, my friend. And then the money will be coming just like that. So this is the value of having these financial expert interviews, is because people like Ron, people like Dr. Baker, people like Glenn Applewhite, people like Dr. George Fraser, people like Eric K. Gargan, these people like Eddie have shed light on having a team of advisors so that we can play a symphony like nobody's business. That's the importance of the 7 spheres of money system. That's the importance of having investment in yourself, Nick. That's the importance for having that young lady, that young man, that's a black man, a black lady, to actually invest in themselves so that they can have the future down the road. Because on this medium called the internet. A lot of these people are frauds. A lot of them are fakes, and a lot of them are phonies. And a lot of them have made money overnight, and a lot of them have helped a lot of people, but the percentages are not what they say they are, because only 5% of people on the internet that you see are making real money, and only 1% are making it passively. And you think that they all are. They're not. And most importantly, very few have gone through the storms of the catastrophic events that have happened over the last 20 years. So the people I brought onto the platform have done that, been there, got the t-shirt. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why I came up with the HIM acronym: humility, integrity, and real black men and women. I'm excited about that, Nick. And I'm excited that you're sitting right beside me and you're taking this all in. So if you never saw me today ever again, Nick, if you don't take that information and apply it, you know what I'm about to say. Your wood is wet. And wet wood sinks, baby.
Yep, indeed. You know, and it's easy for me to take this information because like Ron said, you know, I'm not the type of person to let my pride get in the way. And
Hey, Dale.
Yep.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, Ron.
You can hear me now?
Hey, Ron. Hey, I feel good because I went out of power on my own show at the beginning of the week.
Man, I'm sorry about that. You know, when I unplugged, when I turned around, I had to unplug the computer.
No problem.
And
no
it's an
problem.
old computer, so you know, I'm gonna update that. But you know, it said the battery was on full. Man, this is the first time that it really did something like that.
Hey, Ron. Yeah. No problem. No problem at all. So Ron, so tell us. I just told Nick about how you told me, but tell the audience why you told me I needed to take that DLA.
Well, you know, one thing about it, the interest rates on that is only 3.7%. Quite naturally, I had some credit card bills, and I had some bills that I wanted to pay off with at Ron Rich Corporation. And to have, you know, like I said, I got, well, really, I got 275,000. I got 8,000 first because of the fact that I have 8 employees. And then the government, you know, told me, well, you know, why don't you just try the emergency loan for small businesses to really help them with any type of bills and things of nature to keep the business afloat. And they really kind of came to me with it because they said, Mr. Harris, your credit score, personally, as well as your Dun & Bradstreet, your business is really good. So you should take this money. And first, I was a little reluctant too because, you know, I said, well, you know, we've got some things going. But anyway, I took the money, paid off everything. And, you know, I probably right now, they offered me, told me if I needed some more money, I could come back and maybe get up as much as $500,000 because of my financial situation. And then, you know, Ron Rich Corporation has been around, like I said, ever since 1968. I mean, I'm sorry, 1978, what I'm talking about, 1978.
1970, you hear that, Nick?
That's when I really incorporated Ron Rich Corporation. And we've done, you know, Del, when you remember John, my partner?
Absolutely.
You know, he had a company called
Master Engineer.
Yeah, John had a big company. He was cutting the leather seats for Ford Motor Company. And, you know, we had teamed up with some friends of ours who had a big company out in Sterling Heights. You know, Dale, we used to have meetings out there. You know, we have a big
I used to come out there.
In partnership. And so we have done some projects all around really the country. John and I used to do a lot of traveling to a lot of the meetings that the Minority Council had going on. And we met thousands of African-American men and women who were just doing so fabulous in this country. And it's sad that so many people think, well, man, what are really black people doing? But if you know people, like we know Dale, there's thousands of black men and women with businesses that sometimes you don't know about them because they just stay on the low key because they don't want people to disrupt what they're doing because they have a lot of clients of all nationalities and races. And some people, we say the old word, they like to play a hate a little bit. So a lot of people are very low key, but believe me, I was telling Dale, I was talking to a friend of mine that's a dentist, and he was telling, hey, Ron, I want to tell you, man, you got the CBD oil, but what you need to do, you need to sell to the government. I said, Andre, is the government buying CBD? He said, look, he has a friend that has, we're getting contracts, $22 million, $30 million. They're selling CBD to the government. So he told me, well, and I've been looking into it. I found out the people I should contact, but every time I call them, their line is busy. So I'm gonna probably send them a text or email next week or something so we can talk about it. But like I said, man, there's so many phenomenal Black people. And it's just really bad that we don't have the resources. Well, we have Facebook, we have Zoom, we have resources now that we gotta just take it and really use things like Facebook and I guess Twitter and a lot of these other social websites and, you know, do our own things. Just like what you're doing right now, Dale. I mean, I'm looking at doing certain things myself because we need to express who we are and get young people involved because I have a company called the Piggy Bank. And I set the Piggy Bank up to help young Black men and women become entrepreneurs and show them not only how to get in business, but help them financially. And really what you really need is the connections. We all have connections. And that's why our counterpart, that's why a lot of the white kids have done very well because, you know, they decide they want to do something. I mean, not all of them, but the ones from middle-class family normally have an opportunity to do a lot of things because of the fact that they're connected. And that's the difference. I mean, because you can have money, but if you don't have the right connections, your money is only so strong because your connections will open doors that sometimes money can't open.
So Ron, that's a very important statement that you made, connections. So Dr. George Fraser talked about, he said, you know, it's not white people's responsibility to take care of Black people. It's Black people's responsibility to take care of Black people. Because even though what has transpired in the past, we got to handle what's going on today. So right now, connection-wise, how do we take ownership and open up the door and provide connections for people like Nick and the other generation and the lower generation, people like your son, people like my son? What is your responsibility and what is my responsibility to keep us connected so that we can have equity and ownership right now today versus being fooled by these optics of taking down these statues and changing the names on products when we know that ain't impacting us financially, that's just making us be quiet while they still doing what they're doing.
Well, like you say, Dale, that's exactly what's happened, man. You know, like I said, back in 96, me and a couple of my frat brothers, we opened up a retail store. And we hired probably about 20 Black students over the years. And today, a lot of them are grown. And I run into them now and then, and they'll say, well, my first job is with you, Ron, and you and your partners. And they went on to be, a lot of them, very successful people. I mean, matter of fact, one of the young ladies that's working for me, she's the vice president of MGM Casino here in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And Jackie's done very well. I mean, there's a couple people that, you know, are attorneys or doctors. I mean, we just had a lot of people go through the business. And, you know, I've always wanted to, I mean, quite naturally, Ron Rich Corporation, because of the fact that we do a lot of things outside the country, I haven't really been able to hire a lot of people here. But that's what I'm working on right now, Dale, is to make that happen here. I mean, my son, you know, he's want to be a little independent, but he's realizing that he might as well come into the company business. He's a financial analyst for Google. I mean, he makes 6 figures, so quite naturally, he's kind of happy with what he's doing. But like you said earlier, I mean, for us to sit back and depend on our white counterparts, and I have no problem with them because I do a lot of business with them. And I'm not a racist guy or prejudiced guy. I mean, because I always felt I had the ability to deal with anybody. And thank God I've proven that to myself. So really, just like Neil was saying, man, it's up to us to make things happen. I mean, and we can. If we just continue to connect the dots. I mean, on one of my personal business cards, it says the dot starts here. So it's up to me, it's up to you, it's up to Nick, it's up to us. And we have trillions. Now we have trillions of dollars going through our hands. But it's just all about connecting the dots. And like I said, I know a lot of successful people, but you know, I think athletes like LeBron James, who's really making a lot of people come to the table, he's done a brilliant job of not only using this money to help the community, but he's educating kids. and he's demanding that they go to college, and he's demanding that they pull somebody else up. And so there's programs out there, and it's going to get better, because what we're going through right now is a wake-up call that either we get it together or we're going to continue to get our butts beat by the police. And I'm not knocking the police, because we need the police. I know a lot of good police, because a lot of my frat brothers used to be commanders here in the city of Detroit, and there's some good people out there, no doubt about it. I mean, but there's bad apples in anything. So I don't knock the police, but I understand what these young people are doing. I'm supportive of that. I think Black lives, no doubt, matter, because Black lives have made America what it is today. I mean, it wasn't for us. They wouldn't have been able to come over here and do the work that we did as slaves. Man, they would have petered out. But, you know, we did it. We built this country. We made America great. And so that's what I'm happy about. And I know that because I've been involved with things long enough in that corporate game. And see, when I went to, I can show you right up here on my wall here, you know, I got a letter. I think this is a deal from the chairman of General Mills, that when I left, the chairman, they all gave me a big party. Said, "Bob, you did a great job. I mean, this company grow and take it to another level." And see, that's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to show people, being Black, oh man, we some bad people. And I mean, I'm not gonna brag on myself, but I kicked some butt in the corporate game. And I mean, that was before, because I went in 1974. That was before affirmative action. I got in because of my ability. And that's what I love about it. See, everybody will go around talking, well, Black people got in because, no, some of them, but the bad ones got in because they're bad. And see, I have friends right now that have sons and daughters that's working for major corporations, and they're making some $250,000, $300,000 a year. So we have the ability. It's just about connecting the dots, making people aware, not sitting around talking about what's white men. You know, I do not things that Trump does, because I'm okay personally, but I just want people to know where he's coming from, because the country would really be great if we had a great president. But unfortunately, we have what we have.
Right. Absolutely. So in terms of doing what you accomplished, speak to the young Black man, speak to the young Black woman that is, you know, their junior year in college right now, Ron, and they want to become a real estate mogul. They want to become a serious entrepreneur and a successful businesswoman and businessman across the globe. What will be 3 things that they need to know and what they need to do based on your experience, your expertise, and your ability to perform at the highest level, Ron?
Well, see, one thing I would tell people, Dale, that first thing you want to do, I think getting into corporate America is a good experience because of the fact that you have an opportunity to see exactly what they do, how they do, and things like that. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to work for nobody, come on and start my own business. And that's fine too. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because starting your own business, if you have the resources and the know-how, I don't block that. But one thing that I like about corporate America is the fact that you see what's going on. So then you don't fear them or anything, because you know what's going on. Number 3, I would tell people, study as much as you have to. Master the game that you're in. Be the best at it. I mean, at least try your hardest to be the best at it, because you need to build that confidence in yourself and not fear anything. Because see, fear will give you doubt about what you can do. But if you don't fear anything and just know that, hey, I know I'm just as good as anybody else, and I'm gonna prove that to myself and them too. Then number 3, what I look at is the fact that we all must have a spiritual side about ourselves. See, people keep on thinking that everything we do it because I'm bad. No, man up above kind of give you a little help, a little. Sometimes you get a little down. I mean, I've had my little times I call on God. I ain't gonna shame them. I'm gonna tell people about that now. And people might say, well, I don't. Well, if you don't, so be. And God is only good. I mean, see, people think it's. I mean, a lot of these religions out here, they make it all. God's just a good spirit. That's how simple it is. I don't want to go and you can read the Bible, this, that, and another, but it all comes down to one thing: good. And if you're a good person, you need spirit in order to pass on good spirit to other people. Because if you're a little devilish, well, you're going to be out to take advantage of people, take advantage of situations, and things are going to fall to the wayside. Because you got to have that spiritual side that good, and that's just being that good part of it. Just being good. That's all God is. You know, you like to go to church and believe in God. You ain't got to do preach and all that. People make religion very difficult. It's just being good, good-hearted with good spirit.
So why aren't we teaching this in our school systems? Why are we still teaching schools in an analog standpoint? And what I mean is, we're not teaching our kids about digital skill sets. We're still teaching them the 3 R's. You know, what is it? Math, reading, and I forgot what the other R was. But why are we doing that? And why don't we get on the digital informational, platform and show our children how to, master that so that they can level the playing field? Because Dr. Baker, who we interviewed right before you, said, hey, right now, certain things that we can do in 2020, we didn't even have access to, and legally we couldn't do in the business world that we could do now. So anybody that looks like us could literally own their own enterprise if they're willing to put the work in, do the research, and follow the blueprint. They can have success. So why aren't we doing that, Ron?
Well, see, Dale, that's the thing, because of, when I was a kid, and even during my early stage of being an adult, there's certain things they wouldn't allow us to be involved in. I don't care how much you charge to try it or whatever. But today, it's like you said, the last gentleman that you interviewed said that technology, just like what we're doing right now, I mean, this is really unique because this is going to help us connect the dots. For us to being able to communicate, one thing I like about Facebook, I'm not on a lot of the different social platforms. I try to few of them, but just keeping up with my friends on Facebook is enough for me. And that's been pretty helpful. And I'm gonna probably look at some other social media sites, because I hear people that need to be on this, that, and other. But if I had to go and check on all that stuff every day and just try to keep up everybody, I would be doing that all day long. I mean, Facebook takes enough of my time, but I have to respond because I do a lot of business through Facebook. I have a lot of personal friends, family. I mean, I've been keeping up with my family, man, and a lot of my nieces and nephews. I mean, I love about it because, see, my family right now, we're on our 3rd generation of people graduating from college.
Wow.
So we really share a lot of things. I'm so proud of them, man, and what they're doing. I mean, because, it's amazing, man. And so the dots are being connected without us being so much aware of it, because as individuals, we're really helping generations and making it very important that you must get a formal education. I mean, there's people out there. I'm not saying necessarily you have to have we got 3 rich men in the world: Bill Gates, Mark.
Jeff Bezos, the richest.
Bezos, and you got Zuckerberg. I mean, you got the 3 richest men in the world. Never got a degree. And so I'm not saying that you have to, but you're not them. So get as much education as you can. And that's because, see, that just gives you that confidence too, that, I'm not stupid. I can go because, when you're getting that degree, you're really being challenged against a lot of people. Because, see, when I was in school, they graded on the curve. And it was almost like we're going to try to curve you black people right out of here, Wayne State, but, we hung in there and we fought, and we got it done. And that's why, I thought about grad school, but, I got offered a job, and I went on and took the job because I knew I was going to be working for somebody forever. But General Mills was good to me. I had a lot of free time. I moved up the ranks, and like I said, the challenge was good, and I wanted to show them that, being the second Black African American in that executive position, that I could handle things, and I did, and I'm very proud of that. And like I said, I have a letter right up here on the wall from the chairman of the board stating how well I did with them.
So Ron, we got a few minutes left here, and I don't want to take up all your time. So I want you to speak to.
We're talking about the future of our kids, man.
Yeah,
I can talk all day, but I know you got to interview, you got to do other things, so that's good, though.
Yeah, so let's talk about how important networking is. Number 1. Number 2, I want you to talk a little bit more in depth about CBD and what's the future of it. And then 3, tell us a little bit about some of the obstacles that were opportunities in disguise that you overcame to become the Ron Harris that I've been knowing since 2006.
Well, let's talk about the connections, man. And like I was saying earlier, I really believe because of the technology from Zoom to Facebook, Twitter, you name it, on, that's going to be very important. And see what has happened lately. I mean, it's strange how this virus has sort of turned things in this country. And to see how corporate America, white America, and everybody else are responding to Black Lives Matter, it's probably been one of the greatest moves. I mean, probably equal, if not better, than the civil rights move, because, I mean, to see the people every day. See, that's why things are going to change in November, because people in this country realize we got to connect the dots with everybody, because everybody is talented right now. And America could be the greatest country in the world if we use all of our resources wisely. And that should be, no matter what the color of your skin is, let's connect the dots, because then we will be the strongest nation in the world. Now, we used to be, but the last 3 years, the whole world is kind of doubting just how strong we are. Now, and the next thing, because you said, well, just elaborate on the CBD oil. Let me just talk about CBD oil, and I can talk about it because I use CBD oil.
Right.
I had a serious health problem 5 years ago, and they wanted to put me on some drugs that I thought, after doing my research, and they started explaining to me what these drugs would do to my body, I said, no, I don't think so. Because we all know that drugs have 4, 5, 6, some got 20 different side effects. And these drugs, it was telling me, well, these are kind of new, Mr. Harris, and if they don't work out, we'll try something else. I said, sounds like you want to use me as a guinea pig for your drugs. So I went and started doing my own research. That's one thing about Google that I like, because Google, you can Google certain things and check it out, you know, then do a little reading and research. And then I came up with my own supplements that helped me out, and CBD oil was a big part of that. Let me explain to people what CBD oil is. CBD oil comes from a plant called hemp, which is very similar to the plant that's called marijuana. Mm-hmm. CBD oil comes in several different forms. The isolate oil has no THC in it at all. Your full spectrum, which is the whole entire hemp plant, has 3% THC in it. And, you know, some, you know, depends on the plants. It might have a little less or maybe a little bit more. I mean, they'll tell you 3%, but every plant is different. So for somebody to tell you that it's all the same, that varies on the plant, who planted the plant, how the plant was treated, and a lot of different things. But CBD oil is definitely going to be the future because you have no side effects. I use it. My lady uses it. She has injury, and she swears by the CBD oil that it helps her out tremendously now. Quite naturally, we have our own private label in it.
Yep.
I'm looking at other companies too, because the piggy bank, what I'm going to do is set up an online store. And like I was telling you, Dale, I might look at doing some kiosks in some of the malls. So that way I can kind of get these kids busy. And not only that, but there's a few other things that I have in mind that I'm going to really help a lot of young people. And they're going to need it now, because it's going to be a lot of unemployment in the African American community, as well as all the other races that exist in America, because right now it's all going to be about who's got the talent. And that's what I love about it.
Hey, didn't you tell me last year that once it's completely legalized, that and the major corporations get behind it, it's going to be a major transference of wealth because they're going to be using all products. Didn't you tell me something to that effect?
Dale, that's so true. Look, right now, Coca-Cola, you got a couple of big liquor companies, have drinks with CBD oil in it. They're just waiting for the FDA to give them the okay. I mean, they're sitting on stuff right now, because see, when the market breaks open, you have some independents out here. If you go to some of the shows or go to some of these small dispensaries, you might see drinks, water with CBD, but it's illegal, really. But they don't have people going around checking to see if somebody's got it or not. So you can get away with it if you're on a small scale. But the big boys, the Coca-Colas and the Pepsis and everybody else, when they roll out, they're going to dominate the market, because quite naturally they have the advertising budget to do it, they have the distribution to do it, and they have branding that is super known all over the world. And we know branding makes a big difference. I mean, because people don't doubt if they say Coca-Cola told me it's okay to do this, or Pepsi, it must be, because You know, I've never had any products from them that has hurt me before. So it's going to be huge. It's really, see, I bought some stock in about 8 different companies, you know, that produce marijuana, CBD oil. They own dispensaries. Their numbers look good. But what happened, though, everybody got greedy. They took the money rather than becoming profitable with the money. They started buying other companies out, and they was buying companies out without doing the proper research. And some of these companies look good on paper, but they really wasn't what they were saying. Same thing went on with the .com companies. You know, back
right. I was about to say the .com bomb.
Them, man, was coming along, and then they all got greedy. People started dusting money into them, and then everybody started buying everybody out rather than do some profit. And then, you know, we all know what the end of that story was. You still got Amazon. I went back in '94. I was doing clicks with Amazon. I should have kept on clicking because they told me once we started selling stock, people that hang with us, okay, but you know, who knew that they would be the world's largest corporation, okay? So, but anyway, we still have opportunity, and CBD oil is going to be that opportunity. And that's why, like I said, I want to get young people involved with this, because not only hemp for CBD oil, but hemp was the major crop when George Washington came to America. Right. I mean, they own hemp farms, man. They grew hemp. They made clothes. They made rope. I mean, the hemp, the technology that's going to be produced in hemp, the things that's going to produce in the future, it's going to be $1 trillion business within the next 5 years. Seriously.
Well, you know what, Ron, it's interesting you say that, because we're just old enough to remember Prohibition.
Yeah.
And, you know, they made it illegal because they couldn't make money off of it until they realized how to legally make tons of money. And like you and I both know, when the smoke is clear, there's going to only be 2 or 3 companies that run this industry too. But we need to get out in front of it, network together, educate ourselves, and start applying it and be early adopters before the S-curve economics kick in, where the general population goes from 0 to 10%, and then from 10% to 70% when massive wealth and change happens. We need to stay ahead of that curve. And I was so glad that you brought me in and taught me about it, and we got involved. We got some doctors involved in it, and it's going to become the norm in our society on that standpoint. So I'm excited about that. And history always reproduces itself. And if you don't know your history, you'll get ran over by it. But if you do know and you study the model, you can get out ahead. Like, you can be a genius and have somebody that's in your corner has wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience, and a great track record. So with that said, talk to me about the obstacles that are opportunities that a lot of these kids out here, when I say kids, I'm not trying to call Nick a kid, but Nick's only 29 years of age.
Right.
But instead of Nick having a victim mentality, he needs to continue to have a victor mentality, because he should do his research. And Nick was smart enough to get on this team so he can have access to people like Ron Harris. So can you speak to that? And then we're going to want to wrap it up, because sure. I am going to go back and enjoy the rest of my vacation.
I understand. Well, just like you said, Dale, it's about, we talk about the connection people that you know, because, you know, money is one thing, but opening the doors, because see, if I could get on the phone and let's say, for instance, you know, okay, you got a kid, he's doing blah, 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 but he's got money. But if he just do it by himself, his money it might take some 10 years with his money. But just say if he had half the money that he has, and come to somebody who can get on the phone, make a call, and enhance his business to grow tenfold. And so really, it's so important, just like what you're doing now. You're connecting the dots. You're bringing more entrepreneurs to people like Nick, that now they know people that they can, I mean, I'm open to any young guy. Somebody want to call me and ask me to pick my brain anytime, at any time. Because I realized that some people gave me courage. I had a teacher when I was in high school. I was in distributed ed. There's like a pre-marketing class. And because I was determined I was a good student. I got A's in that class. And the teacher liked me. So, I mean, he exposed me to some things that I needed to know. And, you know, I had mentors coming along in business. And you know, and I want to be one. I have been one and want to always be one. So that's what it's going to take. It's going to take things like you're doing, Dale. I'm going to start doing something very similar to this, because I want to spread the word. I mean, I get a lot of response on Facebook. I mean, people like where I'm coming from, the knowledge that I've been able to obtain, and that should be shared because we have a treasure, a black treasure. We just got to open up and let everybody grab a little of that money. And I ain't talking about, I'm talking about that knowledge, I should say. Let them grab some of that knowledge. And since all in the chest, I mean, I've met some, and I know some brilliant black people. I'm so happy. I love being black. I'm gonna tell you, I have no problem. People be talking about, man, and I'll be honest with you, if I had to be born again as God, say, who am I want to be? Again, I'm gonna be me. Because I know exactly what I've been able to do. The part I had, that time we was in Dallas, man, and we was, at that party, that party that they threw, all the athletes, all the celebrities there, everybody was hanging. And Michael Jordan came in the room, so Mike had a little private party, and we got a lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers going to get in, but see, his bodyguards will be from Chicago. So we came around to the party.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Some of these people be thinking I'm making stuff up. Ron, would you tell them, did we not do a massive party during the NBA All-Star 2006? He was there, Nick. Ron, did I not hire at the time that guy who's a puppet for the industry, P. Diddy? Did I not hire him for our program?
Yes, you did. And no doubt about that. And see, like I said, man,
tell them about it, Ron, because people think I'm just coming out of nowhere talking about I've accomplished some stuff.
Well, there are people who will be surprised. I mean, I've been into some situations that if I told people, they probably think I'm lying and dreaming or something wrong with me, or I'm smoking something wrong or whatever. But that's the reason why we get out here and you connect the dots with different people. You do the right thing. That's why you have to have that spiritual side about you. Because when you got that spiritual side about you, spiritual people pick that up. And see, people pick up your vibes. You can talk in front all you want to, but at the end of the day, see, people is going to talk about you and they're going to either say yay or nay. So if you really get your act together, you'll be surprised who you're going to meet along the way. I've been in the presence of a lot of celebrities, politicians, and a lot of other things along the way. But I got the prophets because I didn't really kiss whatever. I mean, I stood there with my own ability. So they started talking about, Bob Johnson, Bob Johnson on BET, he was at Mike's party. He asked me, because, Mike, he said, man, hey, how did you meet Michael Jordan? I said, well, me and Mike go back in Chicago. I used to go down in the locker room. See, I had a friend that worked for the Bulls. So I would, let us go down in the locker room. Back when Detroit Pistons was kicking butt, I used to go down there teasing the Scottie Pippins at one day. And I said,
right. Hey, check this out. Hey, Nick, how do I share my screen? I want to give you a flashback. How do I share my screen?
Sure. Let me give you the hosting.
Yeah, I want to show the people out there that hey, we go back. Watch this. Let me show you something real quick.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
All right. All right, you're the host now, so you can go down and share your screen.
Okay, so is the spotlight video hide itself? Where do I see share my screen at?
It should be at the bottom. Where you see participants, reactions.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
all right. So check this out, guys.
Okay.
Can y'all see that?
I'm seeing it now. Oh yeah, I see that over there. Yeah, man.
Who's that guy right there? You see that?
Oh, that's Mr. Harris right there.
Okay, I see it now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was during the time we was down back in Houston, man, at the All-Star.
That's right, baby. Ron Rich Corporation.
Yeah, brother. I like that.
A-Train from the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, that the Ransburg International logo.
Yeah.
That is us kicking it.
One time he was at the Bears game. It was so cold. The playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
We went to the Bears football game together. Hey,
oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Man. We had to miss part of the game, man. We tried to get warm, man. It was so cold.
Man, you right, Ron.
Yeah, man. But, a lot of good things, man, over the years. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Thing. We just got to make sure that, I have no doubt about it. It's going to get better. I mean, we're only just begun. And like I said earlier, I'm so proud of my family, man. The generations of people graduating and doing some good things. I have nieces and nephews. My my nephews they're phenomenal. They're doing some great things out there. And then I have my second generation with them. Now, and it's just, I mean, it's a good thing because, you know, that's why, like I said, Facebook has done is let me stay in contact with all of them on a regular basis. I have my niece and nephew, we talk all the time. My nephew that lives, he's a engineer, been an engineer now for about 20-some years. He lives down in San Antonio. He said, "Oh, let me tell you something. They told me I can stay at home and get," he said, "Man, I'm getting 250,000 to stay at home doing what I got to do." I said, "Hey, man, go ahead on and do it." And I mean, quite naturally, his daughter has gone on and done some great things. And, you know, and like I said, my nieces that had daughters and sons that's graduating from college now, and some of them, they've been out, man. It's just a good thing. So
it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, it is. And see, our future, I mean, like I said, what has happened with this virus thing with people, who would have thought that at a lot of these protests, man, you got more white people than blacks. And because they realize, I mean, these millennials, which you are one, Nick, that's great. You guys realize that our greatest potential to make this world great is the people that we deal with, everybody, and use every mind available. No matter what color that mind is, you use it, because you never know. Like, we could go into the history of all the black things that black people did, inventions they created. I mean, some.
Well, let's put it this way. We're gonna end on this note, Nick, and make sure you take back over. Make sure you take back over control of this, and we're gonna do a part 2. So, Nick, you have control back over it. Just want to make sure. So, we're gonna end on this note, Ron. There's 3 inventions right now that impact us in trillions and trillions of dollars. Number 1, the invention of the cell phone was invented by a black man. His name is Samson. Number 2, the invention of the .com URL. His name is Emmett McHenry. It wouldn't be a Zoom without Emmett McHenry. It wouldn't be a Google without Emmett McHenry. It wouldn't be a Facebook without Emmett McHenry. And surveillance, personal home surveillance was created by a black woman. Now, here's my question. Why is it that they're not multi-billionaires today?
Because, like we talked about, connections. And sometimes you can have all the money and all the resources in the world, but if they want to cut you off, that's the thing that they've been able to do.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
So we have not reached our potential because until we totally control the final step of anybody's destiny, some people can get cut off. And I'm surprised they gave me some money. I'd be talking about the president doing things I'm doing, but you know, like I said, credibility, sometimes you have to really, they can't stop you, because that's why I'm saying it's so important for people to have that confidence in themselves and believe in themselves, but you got to prove it to yourself. See, you can't have confidence in time unless you do it. See, don't play with yourself. I'm going to do this or I can do that. No, it don't happen that way. You got to do it.
Exactly. So I'm going to close it with this, and I'm going to let Nick chime in. So,
sure.
Yes, right now, you know what reparations are? Reparations are doing business with Ron Rich Corporation, who's overly qualified to be a vendor B2B, while they're doing all this, you know, dress rehearsing and this optics. Doing business with DJ the Money Coach, because 20 years of servitude and serving the community, teach them how to become consumer debt free, financially independent. So all these companies, Netflix, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, who are making these donations of $120 million, which is 1/1000 of a percent, 1/1,000,000 of a percent of the money that they're making off the consumption of black people, that they need to pull out that vendor list and do an executive search to find companies like yours, Ron, to find companies like Dr. J.C. Baker, to find companies like DJ the Money Coach, because that's the reparations, because that's equity and ownership with qualified professionals. So this is my platform, so I can speak truth to the power, because can't nobody shut me down, because I own everything with my name on it, and I don't serve nobody but the God above. So Nick, give me your caption of what you learned from this elder who's the master at real estate and entrepreneurship. Take it away, Nick. Tell us what you learned.
Okay, well, just to tie everything together, if you take a look at everything that Ron has accomplished, everything that he's done, he was, you know, and how he's advised DJ. Ron learned the game, and then he became a master at the game. That's one thing. The next thing is, in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to believe in yourself. You have to put your pride to the side and not let it get in the way of your shortcomings. And you have to listen, because when you listen, you learn. And you can't do it alone. You need those that know more than you, those 3 advisors that DJ mentioned, that leadership advisor, that business advisor, and that spiritual advisor. So thank you, Ron, you know, for sharing your wisdom, telling your story, and giving us something that we all can aspire to.
Well, I appreciate that, DJ. Excuse me, Nick. Excuse me, Nick. And like I said, I'm always available if you want to, talk some time. If there's anything I can help you with, feel free to call.